On this episode of the podcast, we talk about best practices for building an effective social media plan to reach your ideal audience. We also talk about the 3 kinds of videos that your audience will be most interested in. And finally, Elise's #1 tip on how to overcome perfectionism. And finally, a whole lot more. What's up, friend? Hey, I'm Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast, the show for corporate and commercial filmmakers that are wanting to build a business without burning out. On this show, we cover topics like how to charge what you're worth, how to work smarter, not harder, and all things like business and production related. I want you to know that you might feel like you're on an island as a producer, as somebody that's in production, but I want you to know that you're not alone. I've been in this work for 17 years, and I made it my goal when I first started that I was going to meet as many people as I could to try to get as much help as I could. It's the way that I'm wired. It's something that I've loved doing, and that is where Studio Sherpas was born from, and that is why this podcast exists. My hope is to take my 17 years of production experience of building a team and growing a 7-figure video production company to be able to help you wherever you're at today. I bring on guests who are in production as well, and they share their stories, and I also bring in some of my favorite authors and books that I'm reading that are business related or production related, and share some of their wisdom with you. And really, it's just an excuse for me to hang out with some amazing people and for me to learn a bunch of stuff, but you get to benefit as well. I'm so glad that you're here today. There's some great stuff regarding Instagram and really just social media in general, and how you don't need to do dances or point at words on screens for however you're using social for it to be effective as part of your marketing strategy. Thank goodness we don't have to dance. I don't think that we do, but you'll find out in the episode. I want you to know about a brand spanking new workshop that I'm offering, where I teach how to consistently earn over $100,000 per year while working less than 40 hours a week in your business. I cover in this workshop strategies that I've used over the last 17 years to land our dream clients. I share the 3 myths that most filmmakers believe that hold them back from achieving greatness in their industry, and the must-have components for marketing to your ideal clients. I share my best-kept secret for getting clients to pay us more than our competition for what we do. And one of my favorite topics is working smarter, not harder. And in this workshop, I show how to build an automated lead machine that works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The workshop is totally free, and you can get access to it by registering at studiosherpas.com/workshop. studiosherpas.com/workshop. I am super excited about it. This workshop has been a long time in the making. If I told you years in the making, you might be like, what are you talking about? But seriously, I'm very, very excited about this content, and I'm very excited to get it in your hands. So go sign up, go register, pause this podcast, register for it at studiosherpas.com/workshop. And I cannot wait to hear what kind of wins that you get after going through it. With that said, let's jump into this amazing interview with Elise. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to this episode of the show. Today, I've got with me Elise Darma, who is an Instagram marketing educator who specializes in helping not-so-Insta-famous business people make real revenue directly from the free app in a way that is bearable and efficient. I love that. She's helped over 30,000 people truly grow their businesses, sell more programs, and build money-making brands. Elise, I'm so happy to have you on the show today.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm excited to talk to your audience. I have a bit of a video background myself too, so it's really cool to speak that language a little bit more today.
Yeah, that's fun. I have some of my favorite authors I've actually had on the show. I love reading business books, and it's always like super fun and exciting to have them on. But typically, like, I don't follow them on social, so I don't like see their face, and I don't, it's just kind of like, I'm seeing them for the first time. You are a little bit different because I've been following you online for a while, so I've seen your face and I've seen you teach. So there's a little bit like, oh man, here she is. She's like right here. She's going to do something funny. Can you do something funny real quick, like you do on your reels? No.
Definitely not. But I can talk about Instagram marketing all day long, as you know, if you've seen any of the YouTube videos. But I
Yes.
do like a little improv, actually. So if you do throw anything my way, I'm totally open to
Oh,
it. Hmm.
okay. Well, one of the things that I appreciate so much about, when I started following you, I don't know, maybe a year or longer ago, you're super down to earth, and also just how you even describe the people that you help, not so famous or insta famous people. For me, like in anybody that's listened to the show for 2 seconds know that I really have this like struggle with the social media and trying to show up and trying to figure out, like, is it worth trying to build an audience there? Is it more beneficial for me to build my email list? Because at the end of the day, like, I want people to hire our production company. I want to do, more work in our service-based business. And that's kind of a lot of people, but I do know that there are a certain segment of commercial filmmakers that work with agencies, and Instagram is such a great place for them to meet people, DM, follow up, all of that. But I really just appreciate your like down to earth, like, you're working with real people that probably own the cars that they're filming in and around, and the houses that they're filming in. Those are probably their houses and not an Airbnb or something. So thank you
Exactly.
for the work that you're doing.
I'm glad you appreciate it. It's all a reflection of what I like to see in the online
Yeah,
space, and it's also a
yeah,
reflection of how I feel as a business owner when it comes to social media. That's what
yeah.
makes it work for me. This is how I can show up and talk about these things like, "Hey, you non-famous person who doesn't want to be an Instagram influencer, that's okay.
Right.
That's not our goal here, but we can still learn to use the app to make money." And that's more of the language
Yeah.
I talk. And so I also think it's a part of my upbringing. I'm an elder
Mm,
millennial by definition. So I remember life before the internet. We got the internet in our house when I was
hmm.
about 12 years old. And I grew up with Facebook. Like, I was 18 when I joined Facebook. I can't believe how long I've been on Facebook. So I
Yeah.
totally understand like the pre-digital world, the corporate world, because I also had a corporate job for a couple of years, and now the marketing digital world that we live in today. And so I think that's something I also like to bring to my teachings and my training, especially to help those who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s translate all of this and make it work for their business. So that's where that comes from.
Which is probably why I resonate so much with you.
Lovely.
Because I mean, there's plenty of influencers out there that are 20, and I'm just like, I would never do that like on social. But the things that you do, I'm like, yeah, like I could see me doing some of the things that Elise is
Yeah.
talking about here. So
Yeah. I
that's good.
dabbled
You,
in the influencer space as well, and I learned that
yeah,
it's not for me, right? And I know
yeah,
that my audience, they don't wanna dance on TikTok. So we figure out ways to
right.
get around that. So that's
So
what we do now.
you've worked with so many students. What's one of your favorite like transformation stories that somebody has experienced in their work with you?
Ooh, there's a couple good ones, and my favorite ones are generally on our website. We feature case studies, and we love to feature people from a variety of niches. So, one person who comes to mind is Dr. Amir, who is a Botox doctor in Toronto, and he was an earlier student of mine from a few years ago. And, not my typical follower. I would say that the majority of my followers are female, generally coaches, freelancers, some service providers. So it was cool to have a doctor work with me. And,
Mhm.
he was someone who didn't grow up with social media. It wasn't his favorite thing. It wasn't a natural thing, but he was curious and he was interested. And
Yeah.
so I think he had maybe 1,000 or 2,000 followers when he started working with me, and took some of my programs and trainings and was able to reach not crazy numbers, like 3,500 followers, which is fine because he attracted the right followers. He brought in an
Right.
Instagram strategy that like literally brought in followers into his in-person office in Toronto. And he told me that from his Instagram efforts, the customer lifetime value of the people he added to his clinic was upwards of $100,000, which was mind blowing at the time. And of course, I mean, this is a doctor's clinic. So pricing, it's not your average
Right.
pricing, but that was his calculation. And so I love seeing Dr. Amir's posts. He's someone who's really done well. We have, Sarah, who during the pandemic started her own online plant and card shop, and, didn't ever become Insta famous, but still generated over $10,000 in product sales, just from generating a Instagram audience and converting them into customers. There's Adrienne, who's a bar instructor, same thing. When the pandemic hit in 2020, she had a brick and mortar business that she shut down and then moved her entire brand online, started her Instagram account from scratch in January of 2020. And 10 months later, like in October of 2020, she messaged me and said, our business we're reaching six figures, all from our audience that we built on Instagram. So there are some mind-blowing experiences that we've had, and I get super excited to see it because it's often the reluctant business owner. It's often that person who's like, oh, I'm too late. I'm too old. What is this really? Then they do it. And then, wow, 5-6 figures from social media is possible.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that story of Dr. Amir because for him, like he has to he's physically with people, right?
Yep.
As a service-based business, most of the people that listen to the show, we're going somewhere to film something, and then we're bringing it back to our studio or to our house or whatever to edit and to deliver. So that part can be done online, and yes, plenty of us, if we really wanted to, we could have edit-only businesses where we're just editing other people's footage. But for the majority of us, we need to go somewhere. So if you were starting out, or you were coaching somebody like me to say, like, Ryan, like, here's how let's say you have. I think I've been stuck at 1,400 Instagram followers for 4 years. So it was all my relatives, my best friends, and, some people that follow this show. So outside of that, and I've gotten, actually, I will say I did last week, a photographer friend of mine DM'd me and said, hey, would you guys be able to do a project like this? And I'm like, yeah, but I have a relationship with her, so it wasn't weird that she DM'd me asking me about a project. So with that in mind, how in the world was somebody like me I don't have a desire to get on and do a ton of engagement, only if I knew that I could get it, some leads and people that would turn into real projects that would pay me money, then I would say okay, but getting there, I just feel like, and my wife she's an abstract artist, and she, for months and months and months, would post every single day, really beautiful stuff. She made reels. She does all this work, and her growth it's just so slow, and it's painful to watch somebody pour themselves into something and just to see little to no return. Help.
I understand. I just pulled up your Instagram profile, Grow Your
Oh
Video
gosh.
Business. Great handle. I work with videographers, photographers a lot. I work with
Yeah.
people who have in-person businesses a lot. Both my parents are real estate agents. I've worked with a videographer in Toronto in person to film our YouTube videos. So I think one of our YouTube videos, I actually pulled open her profile and I did a live profile review.
Oh,
If anyone wants to check that out to
that's
see
fun.
what I recommended, because
Yeah.
I understand the business in the sense that you're generally behind the camera.
Yeah.
You're shooting your clients who are in front of the camera, filming, I should say. But it means that you yourself don't necessarily want to be on camera, because the irony is that Instagram, TikTok, all social media platforms are moving towards video. So you
Right.
have the exact skill that everyone wants. Everyone's trying to develop. Everyone needs
Yeah.
right now. You know how to film beautiful video. You know how to edit. You know how to add music. You know how to use a green screen feature, way more than what's built into these apps. You have those skills, but I find the friction happens because you just don't want to be the person on camera.
Right.
So that's the first thing. If I were to look at your profile, which I'm looking at right now, I would try to find like what is the best way for you to show up on video, because you have the skills, and creating short form video is the fastest way to grow on the internet right now.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like I haven't seen this level of growth since when Instagram started in 2013, 2014. Back then I had
Oh my.
clients who were able
Wow.
to, hit 100,000 followers in 6 months. Then it became a challenge to grow. It wasn't until really 2020 when Instagram Reels came out and TikTok really exploded. It wasn't until 2020 that I saw people messaging me saying, "Hey, Elise, I saw your YouTube video on TikTok. I finally made a video. It got 40,000 views." And then 6 months later, they have hundreds of thousands of followers. In fact, one lady I'm thinking of is a career coach, and she's already hit 1 million followers on TikTok and has like
Wow.
700,000 followers on Instagram. And she started making short form video in April of 2020. So she started, just doing talking head videos on camera, nothing fancy, no major trends, definitely no dancing, but just started sharing pure value. And her growth is already like blown way past mine. And I've been doing this since 2014, really, 2016, seriously. So for anyone who's listening to this who has a video-based business, one, you have a leg up because you have the skills, you have the software, you have the editing tools. If you don't want to edit within TikTok and Reels, you don't have to. Two, you probably have a storytelling background. You've likely studied, screenwriting or journalism or film production, which teaches you storytelling. And at the end of the day, a 10, 15-second video is a short story. It's generally got a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's something that we've heard Instagram say that it likes to see in its reels. Like, tell a story in a short amount of time, have a twist at the end, make it unexpected so that people have to watch it again, or if people get a laugh or get surprised. So looking at your profile, I can see that you have like episode clips. Obviously, I haven't played any, but it looks like you have like episode clips from your podcasts, and these can do well as TikTok and Reels. I've seen podcasters pull out their top clips, stylize them with text on screen and emojis, and just make them engaging to watch.
Yeah.
But those kind of clips can do well when you're delivering high value in the information that you're sharing. So you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do a trend. You don't have to dance. But if you're sharing high value information that your audience cares about, chances are it's going to be seen and by more and more people. So for you, with your audience, where you want to really reach other filmmakers, you want to reach production companies, you want to think about when you're making your short form video, what kind of content would they be most interested in? What would they care about? What's something that they would share? What's something that they would save? And I know it's a little mind bending to think, okay, well, here's one topic. How do I turn it into a video? But once you practice that muscle, it just becomes a little more easier to flex. And, sometimes you'll get videos that take off, and hopefully they take off in front of the right audience. Because that's another thing about video is sometimes people feel like they need to be viral, and that's the goal. And I would say not necessarily. You can go viral by making a video about your dog because your dog's cute. It doesn't mean that that's going to result in leads or clients back to your business. So it's better to actually go mini viral. So whatever that means for you, it might not mean like 100,000 views. It might mean
17.
1,000 views. Right, 17 views. If that's better than your average view count, you've gone mini viral. The key is it goes viral in front of the right people, and that's when you're going to see leads and sales back to your business.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's like the flow? So like, let's say somebody follows me, they like a couple of my videos. What have you seen has been the best sales funnel? Is it like having a link tree and a few different ways that people can like connect with you? Is it only one link that goes to your like contact form? What have you seen that has worked well to convert some of those views ultimately into clients?
Yeah, great question. So Linktree is a tool that allows people to share multiple links via the one link in your bio, because on Instagram you just have that one link. The problem with Linktree is some people stack it. So they'll do like 7 to 10 different links of where they can lead their visitor
Yeah.
to. I like to recommend to keep it to maximum 3 links, because you don't want to confuse people. You don't If you confuse them, you lose them. So my favorite thing is actually using one clear link, not even using Linktree, but just one main opt-in, one main link that I'm leading people to in my bio. And then in my videos, in my reels, I will create call to actions directly in the video themselves, telling people to head to XYZ link. I generally avoid saying in the video, head to the link in my bio, because that link can change at any time. But I will say, head to captionvault.co. I'll write it on text on the screen. I'll add it in the caption. Those are some of my more evergreen offers. They're always available. So you'll want to think when you're creating your short form videos, whether it's TikTok or Reels, what's something you can tell people to do that's forever going to generate leads to your business. So maybe you offer a free consultation call. Great. Tell them the link, keep it short and snappy. Tell them the link of how to get to that call. Maybe you have a free guide that they would be interested in grabbing. Put the link up. Maybe you want to lead them directly to your services page. You can absolutely do that too. I think people are afraid to sell on social media. They don't want to be too pushy, so they just share their freebies all the time. But your people need to know about your offers. It shouldn't be a surprise, when you talk about whatever your service is, whatever name you've given it. So don't be afraid to build in those direct one-liners where you say on camera, head to XYZ link for 300 ideas or whatever it is. And if you can't fit it into your video itself, the short form video, then absolutely add it to the caption, or just even write it in your video as on-screen text. So even though you're not saying it, you can still add on-screen text in your video to that. So I find that once you get into that habit, most business owners feel like, oh, this is really pushy, this is really salesy. But it's not. It's the fact that people are very distracted on social media. You're lucky if they watch your entire video in full, right? So if you get someone to watch your entire video in full, tell them what to do next. Give them a next step. And that's generally your best Instagram funnel, right? Create content that gets seen by the right people. And keep in mind, the algorithm is looking for content to share in front of the right people. So when you create really good content, it's going to know like, oh, I'm going to share this in front of other people who are interested in video production. So algorithms are literally looking for that really good content to put in front of people who aren't even following you. When you create that kind of content, you're basically generating new eyeballs to your business, free traffic. So you're not paying, ads, or you're not paying anyone for it. You're getting free traffic, which is amazing. Then when they've seen that video, they're going to be curious. They're going to either go to your link that you've mentioned in your call to action, or they're going to go to your profile. Your profile is really important for that, making that really good first impression, because they're going to decide then, should they follow you or not? Should they click the link in your bio? Are you for them? And then ideally, if your funnel is working, they'll give you a follow, they'll go to your link, and they'll take that next step in the customer journey, whatever that might be.
Yeah, that's really good. I honestly haven't seen any videos that have ever had any other call to action other than links in the bio. So thank you for giving me some freedom. I think that's a brilliant idea because I'm like, I'll always watch these videos and I'm like, this is an older post. Like I'm sure that the link in their bio is not even updated. So the fact that you just kind of broke that and like, oh yeah, that makes more sense to just actually give them the short link or whatever. That's good. I like that.
Burn it in. Burn it
Yeah.
in. If it's an evergreen piece of content, like something that will never go out of style, burn that URL in and make sure the URL doesn't expire.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Make sure your URL always is working.
Now, I'm curious, you talked about like Instagram wanting to serve, other corporate commercial filmmakers the content that I'm creating, but like how do they know like who I'm targeting? Is it through hashtags that we're using, or is there some other ninja tactic that I should know about?
Oh, good question. Well, so we only know so much about the algorithm, right? Instagram doesn't let us in on all of its secrets. But I'd say that generally for most social media platforms, all algorithms are the same. So the algorithm is assessing your content. It's assessing what you're saying. Like within Instagram, there's a caption sticker, right? So you can go to your stories, you can find this caption sticker, you can use it in your reels as well. And within seconds, the video has transcribed the sticker has transcribed what you've said in the video. If we have that tool, don't you think that the algorithm is doing that instantaneously as well? It's instantaneously like assessing what you're saying, what topics you're talking about in the video, and like categorizing it so that it gets seen by certain people. So again, I don't know the exact workarounds of the algorithm, but that's my sense. It's that it's looking at what images you're using on camera. It's looking at what you're saying. It's instantly assessing it. It's looking at your general followers. It's looking at who's already following you. And it's pulling in that data of like, oh, all these people are interested in film production, and this is in a very simplistic sense. So that's the algorithm. But we also know that Instagram is building in even more SEO abilities. So back in the day, the only SEO tool we had really was hashtags. And now we're seeing that hashtags are kind of becoming less relevant, and Instagram is building in SEO within your caption. It's looking at what words you're using in your bio and in your name field. So again, the algorithm is probably a lot smarter than we know or really will ever find out, but it's built into exactly what your content is about. Instagram will know to put it in front of people who have already shown that they're interested in that type of content.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to start stuffing all my videos. I'm going to be like, commercial filmmakers, you want to make more money, videographers, video. Yeah, sort of like that. Probably not like that.
Exactly. Add them to your caption, in a conversational way. I have seen sometimes people will stuff like the keywords in the caption, or I see that on YouTube as well. I guess it's worth a shot. Worth trying.
I won't do like the whole that whole thing, but
yeah.
when you're planning the videos that you're going to create, again, this is my own ignorance. I think stories on Instagram. Wait, stories? Yeah, stories are 15 seconds. Reels are they 30 seconds or are they 60 seconds now?
They can be up to 60 now.
Okay, so when you're planning your videos, you're probably thinking through. Well, how do you think through? Are you thinking, okay, this is going to be, this will be a reel, and I'll throw it in my stories, or do you double up like that, double dip?
I do. I'll always produce a reel first.
Okay.
So my mindset is if I'm going to make content, I don't want to make it for my stories because then it disappears in 24 hours. And then the only way it lives on after is if I like make it a highlight or save it and make it a reel. So I always think of like a reel first mentality. And I'm seeing a lot of people make this switch too. It's pretty common in your stories to take people behind the scenes, maybe share a day in the life, right? So if you're going to go through the effort of like filming clips, showing a day in your life, you may as well stitch it together in a reel and have it live on your profile where it won't expire. And we know the algorithm is pushing out videos from the Reels feed like never before.
Yeah.
It's definitely prioritizing Reels in my perspective. So what I like to do is make the reel first. And I've done this before on TikTok, on Reels, for example. There was one morning where no makeup, I was just waking up, my vacuum was running in the background. And I saw on Instagram that someone had reposted one of my Reels to their account without permission.
Oh.
And they were attracting a very similar audience as mine. So had they asked, which is the rule as per Instagram's terms, I would have said, no, you can't repost that reel and use my content to grow your account and potentially even monetize, because Instagram is now paying creators for the views that their reels generate.
Oh, wow.
So it's a whole thing. So I saw this one morning and I was going to jump on my stories to be like, this isn't cool. But instead, I filmed it in my camera app. And I said, you know what's annoying? Like coming across someone ripping off your work, posting it without permission. What they should have done, they should have asked me. So it was literally like a 10, 15-second clip. I was going to share it to my stories. Instead, I posted it to my TikTok and my Reels, and it got way more traction. Not only because of the topic was a little hot, but it just got way more traction than had I just shared it in my stories, which sure, it would have generated replies to my stories, which turns into DMs. But I felt like this was a topic that should live on my feed. And it generated like 35,000 views. It generated like 12,000 views on TikTok. It got a lot of comments. It got a lot of shares. It spurred on a whole other conversation. So that's my mentality, is if I'm going to make video content, post it and make it for a reel first. And then once it's published as a reel, there's a little paper airplane icon. You tap that icon and you can share your reel to your story. And those views will count as well, the views that come from your story. So reels first, stories second.
Yeah, that's good. So when you're planning your reel, obviously this one, you're like, well, this is, if it's 10, 15 seconds long or whatever, like I just need to get this piece out. But like if you're creating one like with strategy behind it, are you trying to fill that whole 60 seconds, or you're just kind of like, no, as long as it needs to be, if I can share this in 38 seconds, like so be it.
That's right. That's generally my strategy. I'm never trying to fill it to 60 seconds. In fact, my sense about video lengths is that people who don't know you, a cold audience, they're more likely to watch a reel if it's 7 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. So there is a Reels page now, right? Where if you scroll your Reels newsfeed, you're going to see Reels from people who you don't follow. Your goal ultimately is to make videos that get on that page and in front of people who don't follow you. So my sense is that for short videos, 7 to 10 seconds, they're generally really good for a cold audience. Whenever I do a longer video, and by long, it's all relative, but I would say 30 to 60 seconds, I would say that those are still valuable because I can go more in depth on a topic, but they're more likely to resonate with my warm audience, meaning the people who are already following me. Same thing when I go live on Instagram. Going live on Instagram isn't to get in front of new people. It's a way to engage with my current people. And there's still value in that as well. Like looking at your profile, you have 1,600 followers, right? If you had 1,600 potential clients in your business tomorrow, well, that would be a lot of leads, a lot of clients. It might break some things. But if you think of your followers in terms of like, these are real people, these are warm people, these are people who kind of know me, but let's take things to the next level. Let me go live and do a free training on XYZ. Let me encourage people to send me a DM with a code in it, and I'll send them a free gift of ABC. You know, you know, I'm just talking in code here because I don't know what you would give away in your business, but I'm just saying that like reels are really, really good to grow your audience and to get in front of new eyeballs. Stories and going live, really good to connect with your current audience, your current followers. And to close that whole loop, DMs, the direct messages, that's often where relationships are really nurtured. It's where those one-on-one conversations happen, and it's where sales happen. So that in a nutshell is how my students are generating 5 and 6 figures all from Instagram.
I love that. That's cool. Yeah, I like how you have that broken down. So let's just say I'm a filmmaker and I love working with dentists. This is totally random. I mean, I'm sure I would love working with dentists, but let's just say I want more dentist clients. How do you say that? How do I say that? So what should my approach be to I can create videos. I've got, powerful shooting, editing tools and all that stuff. Like, what should I do to try to reach them? Let's say I haven't done any work with dentists, but I know that I would like working with them.
Good question. So I would start a new account if that's the case, and make sure my profile picture, my name, my bio all speak to that potential
Yeah.
audience of people who I want, which is dental clinics, correct? Dentists and their dental clinics. So I'd make sure that my profile is speaking to them directly. And then in the videos that I create, because I would honestly just jump right to making videos, reels, and they don't have to be fancy, right? It could just be talking on camera. But in those videos, I would think, okay, what would be valuable for a dentist or their staff or a dental clinic? What would be valuable for them to see right now? So what does a dental clinic want? Well, they want people in the door. They want more patients, probably. They want to make sure that their days are booked out with appointments. And so they need leads. So what kind of videos could I create to help a local dental clinic in, I don't know, any city? What city are you in, Ryan?
Near Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, so let's say I want dental clinics in Detroit. Let's think about what topics I can share, what information I can share with them that they would find useful. So then when I'm scripting out my reels, which you might want to script if you're not super, super comfortable talking on camera, at the very least, script out the first sentence that you say in a reel, because that first sentence is the hook. That first sentence is going to determine for a follower whether they keep watching or whether they scroll. So in that first sentence, I would call out my target market. I'd say, are you a dental clinic in Detroit struggling to get more patients? Right? Or I'd start another one that says, the biggest mistake dental clinics in Detroit make is XYZ. So I'm basically writing headlines. I'm writing hooks. And again, I'm making sure that I'm saying the key words, because the algorithm knows I'm literally saying the key words, and the algorithm will go ahead, hopefully, and get it in front of local businesses in Detroit who could use my services. And again, I would just do like talking head videos, giving pure value, pure tips, things that my target audience would find useful so that they see it, they save it, they comment, but more importantly, they DM me on how we can work together.
Yeah. And people like Dr. Amir, and I think Sarah you had mentioned, and the other woman, like, is there any, so talking head, like that totally makes sense. And that's like easy to think through. Like, yeah, if I'm on a call with a dentist, like there are things that I know that I would want to share with why they should consider getting video. So those kinds of videos make sense. Is there any point in time where it makes sense to kind of go off the quote unquote script and say, you know what? You know what? It's time to do a dancing video. Okay, not a dancing video, but something that's maybe a little more creative or like very different from a talking head piece for me who still wants to get more dental clinics.
I'm all about, creating videos that bring humor to the forefront, because we know that TikTok's priority is to entertain. And from what we're hearing from Instagram, we've been getting updates from Adam Mosseri, who's the head of Instagram, and he's telling us that the data is telling him that Instagram followers want to be entertained, which could be the nightmare for many business owners, because I'm not a comedian. I don't want to try to be funny. So there is this element of bringing entertainment to your video content. I like to reframe that for my students and say, don't feel the pressure to be funny, but do intend to make infotaining content. So you're sharing information in an entertaining manner. And so that could be just as easy as like having some fun background music going on behind you while you talk, or having text pop up on screen, or having emojis, or like you said, having fun with the video every now and then, jumping on a trend. In fact, I'm going to post a video today that's outside of my norm. My norm would be a talking head video, as I call it. Just statistically, when I look at my analytics, my most watched, most shared videos are where I'm just talking, giving tips. So That's the majority of my video strategy, but I still like to make videos for fun, to share my personality, especially when you're a service provider. People are hiring you because of your portfolio, yes, but they're also going to be working closely with you. So if they can get to know your personality and have those common threads, that's also a good thing. So I'm going to post another video today where I'm not talking on camera. The first clip of it is me looking at my phone, and it says on screen, it says me going into my DM requests folder. So you know how on Instagram you have your main direct messages, but you also have a requests folder, and that's where a lot of the spammy messages go. So this is a trend on TikTok right now. So after I open up my phone, I'm going to show all these like cheesy stock images of, a businessman or a businesswoman. And on the text on screen over the businessman is going to say like, "Hello, I am from Instagram and I need you to click this link to verify your account." It's obviously fake, right? Like it's a stock image, but this is the trend. Or there's another one where there's this lady showing her feet on the desk, and she's going to be on screen saying, "Do you want to become an influencer?" So I'm making fun of the spammy messages that I get in my DMs through this trend on Instagram, which is basically using cheesy stock images. I know that's a mouthful to describe, and you'll understand it when you see this 10-second video. But I saw the trend. I was like, oh, we can have fun with this. Let's make fun of spammy messages. And off to the races we go. So that one is still it's still targeting my ideal follower, which is someone who can relate to spammy messages. So it's still on brand. And to answer your original question, I don't think every video has to be like pure on brand, purely just talking to your target market. You can do some for fun as well.
So that video that you're working on, are you using like a audio? I forget what they're called. Like somebody like a trending audio. Yeah, there we go. Is that what you call it? Okay.
Exactly. It's this song called Miami on TikTok. I don't even know who the artist is, but it's like a country song. It's a slow Western, and it's just been attached to this trend where it's a slow Western song, and then you show these cheesy stock images, and you kind of like make fun of what that stock photo person would be saying. It's all a TikTok trend.
How do you like keep track of all of the ideas and the things that you want to make? And then how are you prioritizing what you're going to make next?
There's so many systems we have now to generate ideas. So the easiest thing you can do is scroll TikTok for ideas. And the ones where you see a video and you're like, oh, I could adapt that for my business. The easiest thing you can do is just heart it, just like the video. And then when you go to your profile, you're going to see a private section of your profile that shows you all the videos that you've hearted. So it's a way to kind of save the videos that you liked. Next level would be when you see a video that you want to adapt to your niche, click on the audio track in the bottom left of the video, tap on the audio page, and then you can actually save that audio. So that's often what I did back in the day, where I would just save the audio, but it's still helpful to like have a record of the original idea or the original video that sparked the idea. So heart the video, save the audio. And then I have a team. So we use a tool called Slack for our day-to-day communications. I have now created a channel on Slack literally just for TikTok links. So anyone on the team, if you come across a TikTok that's funny that you think we can use for business, drop the link in the channel. So now I'm having my team members involved as well. And I think we have finessed this process so much that now we actually are offering a service to business owners where every week they're going to get 5 ideas already sourced for their business, and we adapt them to their business as well. We give them the audio links, we give them the TikTok filters, anything they need, and we show them how to make it work for their business. So now it's a relatively new service that we're offering because it's something we've done in our business for so long.
That's good. Well,
now.
Then, so you've got all these different ideas. How are you strategically like prioritizing and say like, oh, we should do this, we should do this one now, next week we should hit these ones. How are you guys deciding those?
Yeah, good question. I mean, generally the rule of thumb is when something's trendy, post that trend as soon as you can. But I also find that, yes, it's good. I've never been one to be really early on trends. So I've never blown up because of a trend, and that's okay. I also find that we have a leeway with Instagram. So oftentimes the trends will start on TikTok, and then like a few weeks, maybe a few months, they'll trickle over to Instagram. And so I don't see a problem in using a music clip that was trending 3 months ago on Instagram if it helps you get your point across, if it helps you teach, if it helps you give information. Sometimes I see people using audio clips from 2020. I'm like, whoa, that's a throwback, but it's still useful. You know, you can still use it.
That is awesome.
I know.
Wow,
That's the world we live
really,
in.
really good information. I did have a list of questions, but these like very practical. I think this has been really helpful, even if it's just for me. This actually isn't a podcast. This was just a way for me to get some really solid advice, Elise. And my target clients are
Right.
dental clinics, so
Little coaching.
this is going to work out great for me. I tease. What would you say?
Can't wait to see your videos.
Kind of reflecting back on
Hmm.
the work that you've been able to do, what's one of the proudest moments that what's one of the things that you are most proud of?
Great question. I've been running this business since 2013, full time since 2014. And I would say the coolest moment I've experienced so far was when I hosted 2 in-person retreats. We did one in Lisbon, Portugal, and one in Bali. And that was because back then my business was very much about, hey, I travel and work online. Let's experience being digital nomads together. Come meet me in Lisbon or come meet me in Bali. And then we would do workshops and I would help coach during that week. And it was the most that moment stood out to me because I work in the online space, because I so rarely meet my students or clients face to face. To be able to spend a week together in person, have dinner, have drinks, talk about our businesses, to hear from someone in person to say, Elise, I quit my job of 20 years and I started my own Instagram services agency because of what I learned. And now I'm on my way to 6 figures in 10 months. Like, I get goosebumps just saying that again. And it was such an emotional experience. And I'm not really that outwardly of an emotional person, not in the business sense, right? So it was just so cool, like a real pinch me moment to hear that from someone and to see that their life had genuinely changed because of me putting out information on the internet. If you think about it, that's all I'm doing. I'm filming myself in my office by myself, talking to a device, and an editor is making it jazzy. They're putting it on YouTube, they're putting it on Reels, and that's it. I'm putting information out there through the internet, and people's lives are being affected. So that was a real like full circle moment and major motivation to
I love that. That's
keep
really
doing
cool.
this, for sure.
That's a neat story. Thank you for sharing that. And I think just to kind of further just encourage you, it is so hard to like see all the people on the other side, right? So the fact that you did get to experience those events, that's amazing, and I think that's so great. But just you never know. You don't know who's on the other side listening, taking notes of everything that you're saying. And so keep doing that. You're doing great work. Appreciate you so much for coming on the show today and giving us some real practical advice. Where can people follow along and keep up with what you've got going on?
Absolutely. You can head to elisedarma.co/reels if you would like some free reels ideas that I've curated for business owners. You can find me on Instagram. Elise Darma, Darma is how you spell my last name. And then YouTube our channel there has a ton of tutorials. If you're new to creating a reel, creating a TikTok, whatever it might be, head to my channel, Elise Darma, on YouTube, and you'll find a lot of free information there as well. So those are all great places to connect. And thank you, Ryan, for having me. It was a ton of fun.
Super duper appreciate you. Thanks for your time. Any parting words before we leave?
Sure. A theme that I've been working on lately is becoming less precious about my content, becoming less precious about my video content specifically. And this might resonate with you if you feel like you're a perfectionist or you struggle with if you struggle with tweaking content. Yeah, I totally get it. As a video creator, your first cut is probably like 80% there, but then you will spend quadruple the time after tweaking it to make it perfect or to make sure your story comes across the right way. And in a way, that is an amazing skill that you have, right? There's certain projects that it's worth it to make sure your story, your vision comes across the way you want it. When it comes to social media content, I have to remind myself to be less precious about it. It does not have to be perfect. Just like the story of when I filmed something one morning, no makeup on, I was annoyed, I put it out there because perfection doesn't matter when it comes to social media content. It's really about what is in your content. What is the value? What is the information that you're sharing? That's what's going to make the video take off or not. So that's what I would say is my parting words, is just learn to become less precious about your social media video content.
Very, very good. Very wise. Thank you so much, Elise. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, that was a super fun episode with Elise. If you want access to the show notes, the different links and things that we talked about, you can access those by just going to studiosherpas.com/283, because that's what episode this was. I would love to know, what is your big takeaway from this episode? Are you currently using social media, and are you dancing, and is it working? But how are you using it to market yourself? How is it working? Maybe it's not working. But what are you going to do as a result of what you heard today? Anything different? Any big takeaways? Let me know in the comments, or you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts letting me know what you think. Don't forget about the free workshop, my gift to you to help you build a more profitable filmmaking business. Get it, register for it, go watch it at studiosherpas.com/workshop. And feel free to reach out to me on social. We're at Grow Your Video Business, and I'm also at Ryan Coral, or you can just shoot me an email, ryan@studiosherpas.com. Make it an amazing week. It is my extreme pleasure that you made it this far in this episode. Thank you so much for letting me borrow your ears and your eyes if you're watching, and I will see you next week.